Nothing works in this country. I don't care if you've got a degree in psychology of wild mushrooms and you can't find a job in the psychology of wild mushrooms. You go and get a job in McDonald's.
But have no fear, reform warrior.
I'm a politician by accident. The police force is not a police force anymore, it's a police service.
And what do you think's the biggest threat?
Islamists.
Wow.
It's true. We're fighting for the heart and soul of our country.
I can't get my head round how we've got here.
It's a freak show. I mean, I won't let these people in the cabinet look after a corner shop. They'll be giving stuff away. Have you stopped laughing yet? Detain, deport, turn the boats back, that's it.
You'll do that when you get in, will you?
Got to, haven't you? And if that's outspoken, then so be it.
And what happened with Rupert? Like, what really happened?
Honestly,
Lee, are you the most outspoken MP in the UK?
oh, that's a ridiculous question. I don't know. It's a people say I'm outspoken. I would say I'm just saying what people think. I have a philosophy. It's not a strange one, really. I go home on a Thursday or a Friday. I go to see my parents. I see my friends, my family. I go for a few pints. I like to contribute to my local economy in the pub on a Saturday and Sunday dinner time. Go to the football match, speak to normal people, lots of normal people. I listen to what their concerns are, and then I come back to Parliament on the Monday morning and I say exactly what they're saying. And if that's outspoken, then so be it.
So you're a man of the people, would you say?
Well, I'm a man that's never lost his connection with the people. I was born in my constituency. I've never lived more than 5 miles from where I was born. I know what the vast majority of my constituency are talking about, what they want to see happen in the country and what the concerns are. So it's easy for me. I come to Parliament, like I've just said, and ask the same questions they're asking. It's pretty simple, actually. It's simple stuff. It's not complicated.
What do you think is the current state of the UK, honestly?
I fear for my country. I feel like over the past, 15, 20 years, maybe 25 years since Blair came in, we've decided to give our country away. We've spent, hundreds of years, centuries building our country up to be a major force in the world. We've always punched well above our weight on the world stage. You can go anywhere in the world and you'll see the influence of our great country. Look at all the inventions that have come from these shores. It's been absolutely phenomenal for a tiny island. Lots of the world, lots of the planet speaks English. They copy us, we know that. They look to us for guidance. And then all of a sudden, over the past quarter of a century, we've decided to give a lot of that away. We're apologising for our history, our heritage, and our culture, which we should not be. Every single nation on this planet's got a dodgy history somewhere along the line. We should celebrate what we're good at. And, we've given it away. We're importing cultures, both legally and illegally, onto our shares that don't share our values, that don't like us very much, but are quite happy to come and set up home here. And it feels the unsafest I've ever felt in all my life in this country at the moment, and I fear for my country.
And when did it start to go wrong? Because we can't just blame Labour, can we?
No, it's not Labour's fault. It started to go wrong. It started with Blair. Let's be honest, it started with Tony Blair. He sort of opened the borders up, believed in this free movement, this sort of, when the Tories got in under Cameron, it didn't get any better. I think he sort of wanted to be like Blair, and it got worse under Boris. Let's be honest, and I was a big supporter of Boris. I got elected on his ticket, really, but it got worse under him. And I used to go and see ministers and Boris on a regular basis to air my concerns, and I never listened. And they always used to say, "Lee, you're the voice of the people. People listen to you." Well, listen to me then. But they never would.
Right. And what do you think's the biggest threat? If you had to pick one, was the biggest threat to the UK?
That's a good question. Honestly, Islamists.
Wow.
I think it is. I was there last year when I saw them on Parliament Square shining the graphics onto Elizabeth Tower, Big Ben as we call it, from the rivers to the sea. They were chanting all sorts of nasty, wicked stuff. And yes, it's a huge problem. It's scary. We don't see it so much where I live, but you see it in the cities. But the scariest part is that the authorities don't call it out. Mayor Khan never said a word. You've got MPs cowering inside Parliament, scared to go outside. And these people are becoming emboldened. They know they can go out on the streets. They know they can throw stones. They know they can cause problems. They know they can harass our police. They know they can attack our Jewish community, and nothing ever gets said. And it's not just in this country; it's around the world as well. So, yeah, you might be alarmed at me saying that, but things have changed dramatically over the past 20, 25 years. We have, and the shocking thing is when this happens, our Muslim community, the vast majority of decent, law-abiding, hard-working citizens, they get tarred with the same brush as well. So I'm probably scared as well to speak out, which is not right in our country. People should never be scared to speak out.
And how do you think that started the Islamist problem?
Well, we've imported it. It's probably, we've not been very good at foreign policy forever. I mean, look at some of the countries we've invaded and attacked, and in the name of democracy, and name a few. I don't know, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq. We've completely destabilised these countries. I mean, can you imagine illegal migrants coming through Libya when Gaddafi was in charge? Not a prayer. And a lot of these illegal migrants we're seeing now are coming through Libya, into Europe, through Sicily, through Italy, through Europe, and coming to our shores. Would that have happened if Gaddafi was in charge? I'm not condoning what Gaddafi did. He was an evil dictator. But by removing him, we've created a whole set of problems. And the same could be said for maybe Iraq with Saddam Hussein, a brutal, horrible dictator. But a lot of problems are coming out of these countries now. And yeah, we've gone into these countries, got rid of these wicked despots, these leaders, but it's created, the unintended consequences is that we're now being overrun in Europe. It's true.
But Labour clearly don't agree with you.
Oh, they won't do. Labour won't agree with anything people like me say. But it's true. We see it on our streets now. I mean, it's scary. It really is scary. Like I say, we had the BLM riots. Totally, that's separate. But the Palestinian marches last year were almost on a weekly basis, and it was terrifying. And some of the things they were chanting, death to the Jews, from the rivers to the sea. And it's not just in London they're doing this; they're doing it all over. And people, we've got a Jewish community now who's scared to go out, thinking about leaving this country. It's disgusting.
So why is nothing being done about it?
Because they haven't got a backbone. It's probably the same. It's a similar sort of analogy, if you want, to the grooming gangs. The Labour Party were always frit to speak out about the grooming gangs in the northern and Midland towns. Why? Simple reason why, because they're scared to upset a lot of their core vote in the inner cities. And all this nonsense they're talking about safeguarding women and girls, which we've seen in Parliament just this week, is nonsense. If they wanted to safeguard women and girls, they'd stop the boats coming over. Or, at the very least, detain and deport every single male that comes over the channel, because we know quite a few of these go on to commit awful rapes and sexual attacks and sometimes murders on our young women and girls. So if they were serious about protecting our women and girls, they'd stop this straight away, but they're not. They're more interested in votes. It's disgusting.
How bad will things get in the UK then for another 3 years?
I don't know. I fear we've got another 3 years to put up with this awful government. Nothing works in this country. Look at our police force now. Shoplifters aren't arrested. If you're broken into or your car stolen, the police don't come out anymore. But if you put something on Facebook or Twitter, there's about 6 of them knocking on your door and slapping the old bracelets on you and dragging you away and possibly facing a custodial sentence. It's the police force is not a police force anymore. It's a police service. I don't blame the policemen and women on the ground. I blame the bosses. I think they're weak and spineless. And that goes right to the very, very top. You know what? Back in the day when I saw a copper, when I was his age, it startled you. You look back and you thought, what have I done wrong? It sort of scared you a little bit because there was respect there. But there's none of that now. A policeman turns up now to a group of youths, they all burst out laughing, they get their phones out, probably insult him for 20 minutes, and then he clears off. It's nonsense, isn't it?
So what should Labour be doing?
They should be calling a general election because the country's not happy, are they?
No.
He's the most unpopular Prime Minister ever.
Is that true? Is that?
I think it's true, yeah. I can't remember a Prime Minister being this... I mean, Ted Heath was unpopular. I can just about remember Ted Heath in the 70s. He was unpopular, but not this unpopular. This is to a different level. And, of course, people can get the fix of politics now on the telephone, on their mobile phone. It's like a soap opera. More people are engaged. MPs are recognised when they go out down the street. So they're almost semi-celebrities Some MPs are, so people know they are. And people are nosy. The public's nosy. They expect their MPs to be accountable. They like a running commentary of what they're doing and what they're not doing. And we're open to a lot more scrutiny and criticism than we've ever been. But this Labour government, you look at the experience they've got, and they've got none. And when I sit in the chamber, as I was earlier, looking at their backbenchers, I'm thinking, what a shower of people. These people are unemployable. They're in for one term, most of these red wallers are. And when they've lost a seat in 3 years' time, the only chance they've got of getting a job is working for a trade union. Otherwise, they'll be sweeping up somewhere.
Wow.
It's true.
I mean, who would want to come into politics now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the point I've just made is I look at some of my colleagues in the Tory party who lost the seats last time. Half of them haven't got a job yet. Who wants you imagine turning up to an interview and the manager says, what have you been doing for the last 5 years? I've been effing the country up, basically. I've made a right mess on it. So, well, I've got your CV. We'll be in touch. They're not going to be in touch, are they?
No. Do you really think reform can do it?
Yeah, of course we can. If you'd said that a year ago, I'd have said, no, you're crazy. You need to go and see somebody. But now, you couldn't imagine the Labour Party would be so bad. The Tories now are cutting and pasting our policies. Basically, they're backtracking on everything in net zero and stuff like that, leaving the ECHR, which I've always advocated, and I was told to shut up about it when I was in the Tory party during the last Parliament. The problem the Tory party's got, and I've still got a lot of good friends in there, to be honest with you, Rob, but the problem they've got is nobody believes them anymore. These people just turn around and say, well, you had 14 years and you did nothing, you did the opposite. People didn't vote for the Labour Party. They voted to give the Tories a kicking. When people say, oh, Labour's got a huge majority, they voted for it. No, they didn't. Name one policy of what the public voted for the Labour Party for. Nobody can tell you. If you stop them, even the Labour voters can't tell you why they voted Labour. But the public voted to kick them out. We had 4.1 million people vote for us. And you know what? We cannot be blamed for anything, Reform UK. We've got a brand new set of policies. We're working on them all the time. We're listening to people. We're talking to small businesses. I've just been talking to farmers down on Whitehall there. And it's not that complicated for me. I just think just do what the public want, as long as you can afford it.
And what went wrong with the Conservatives?
Net zero. That was a huge one. Nobody wants net zero. Nobody wants it. Immigration. And now early on, when I got elected, I went to see the immigration minister. I'll not name him, but it's not fair, he's not here. To ask for a cap on immigration, or I got told to clear off. I went to see one of the Home Secretaries. I'm going to not name the Home Secretary. I said, well, I want pushbacks in the Channel to push these people back. This was just after we'd met the former Australian Prime Minister, Tony, I forget what his second name is. He used to be the PM of Australia. He succeeded in pushbacks and stopping the illegal migrants, Tony Abbott, coming over. Asked the Home Secretary to do that. The reply was, no, we're not doing that, it's too dangerous. So every time he went to see a minister or a Secretary of State with a suggestion, he just got pushed away. So in the end, I thought to myself, they're no different to the Labour Party, really. They won't do anything. And your first job of a government is to protect your borders. And I was told, when I asked, why are you putting these illegal migrants in hotels? Oh, it's because of COVID. 4 years later on, we're still putting them in hotels. It wasn't. It was because it was too spineless to sort the problem out. And this is all Boris's fault. The illegals, they should have been stopped in the first month. I can stop it. I can stop it tomorrow.
How could you stop it?
Detain, deport, turn the boats back. That's it.
You think it's that simple?
I think it's that simple. I think if young men, bearing in mind I've been to Cali in the camps, if they knew they was coming and going to be locked up in a prison camp and not allowed on the streets and then deported, they won't come. Why would they? It's nonsense.
Right, they can come now and get everything for free,
Yeah,
can't
they come in, they're picked up, sent to a nice hotel, roaming the streets, give them money. They're all working on Deliveroo or whatever they're doing. Some are committing awful crimes. And even if they don't get their asylum claim passed, they just disappear. So, I mean, 4% of the boat people have been sent back, and I would say that most of them have been paid to go back. It's absolute. It's ridiculous. We're the laughing stock of the world.
Wow. And what do you think is the most important reform policy?
Ooh. Well, the one that we get contacted, I get contacted most about is illegal migrants. But I mean, the bigger one than that is legal migration. I mean, they did do some work, the last Tory government, towards the end, which the Labour Party are now sort of taking credit for. But I don't know. It's about making people better off. You know, people always say, you know, at the end of a parliament, are you better off than when this party came into power? And probably for the last 2 or 3, they've not been better off. People haven't. They've been worse off. And people aren't, you know, if people can see that their money is being spent wisely, they'd be okay with it. They would. They think, you know what, NHS has got better, and it hasn't. The public services have got better, and it hasn't. Our roads have got better, and they haven't. Our borders are being contained and controlled, and they haven't. Things are getting worse, and people are being asked to spend more money on services that are worse, and that's what makes people angry.
That must be a hard thing to turn around, though, if you guys come in.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like I say, I know we harp on about legal migration. You know, what you're talking there, £5 billion a year, maybe. I don't know, probably more with all the add-on costs. Legal migration costs us a fortune. We get, you know, we've had families come in that are taking, you know, probably 100 grand out of the system with hospitals, with schools, with benefits and stuff like that. They are not net contributors. Get that sorted out. If anybody's coming into this country to work, fair enough, but they have to be a net contributor. They cannot take out more from the Treasury than they pay in. If they're doing that, then what is the point? There's no growth.
Do you think Labour are almost communist?
I think some of them are. I mean, Labour's a very broad church. I mean, some of them are bordering on mad, I think. You know, some of them have been kicked out. I mean, look where we sit in the chamber. We've got Zora Sultana behind me, and Jeremy Corbyn. They're bordering, and then some of the others that you see over there, John McDonnell and Nadia, bless her, who's a great lady. Some of the Liverpool MPs, yeah, it's like they've been radicalised. When I walk past them in the voting lobbies or in they won't speak to me. Some will. But they have this ideology. We hate rich people. We hate businessmen. Tax the rich. You're all fascists. That sort of mentality. It's quite scary, really. It's like being at school.
Why do they hate the very people that essentially pay the salaries?
Because they're thick. They're thick. They're stupid. There's no other word for it. I mean, why would you hate somebody? I always use this analogy, and they bang on about millionaires. If somebody earning £1 million a year, he pays about £450,000 a year in tax and national insurance.
That's income tax and national insurance.
Income tax and national insurance.
That's not the VAT and everything he's sold. It's not national insurance.
I'm not even talking about goods he's paid for, and his house, his council tax and services and restaurants and
capital
pubs.
Gains tax.
Yeah, all that. He will pay 450 grand, or she, or they, he, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. He will pay 450k into the treasury each year. That will pay for what 10 nurses. I'll pay for 10 nurses in my local hospital. Yet somebody on minimum wage or somebody on 22 grand a year pays £1,500 a year in tax and national insurance. Now, I'm not having a dig at the person on low money. That's what they earn. That's what they earn. You know, but don't pick on that man who's paying 450 grand a year to pay for them nurses in that hospital that would treat that person on minimum wage. It's as simple as that. The more you earn, the more you pay into the system. You know, and if you're paying 450k a year to live in this country, because that's basically what you're doing, you're paying 450k to live in this country. Then, like you say, you're paying for other goods and services, you're probably paying another 150k a year on VAT, on goods and services. So that chap's paying, or woman, is paying over £500,000 a year to live in this country. Do we want to lose that person?
Well, we're losing tens of thousands of them.
Do we want to lose that person who's paying 500 grand to the Treasury? No, we don't.
Why can't someone see that if you lose that person, they're going to be picking up the tax bill?
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? We've got to hammer this home to people that, yeah, if all these rich people that you hate leave, then you'll have to pay his bill. It's as simple as that. You pay his bill. And they won't do it, will they? They'll be up in arms. A lot of people get it now. I think the penny's slowly dropping. But yeah, why attack rich people all the time? I've got some rich friends. They started off with sod all. Started off working in the council house, in the kitchen or in the shed. Made a lot of money, huge amounts of money. Give a lot to charity. I've got a friend now, and he's he employed at his peak 1,200 people. Went bankrupt 3 times before he got his business finally off the ground. You know, when he had his first son, he didn't even have enough money to heat his milk up. They had to do it on a candle, on a pan full of water. But now he's a multi-millionaire. He's got a house to die for. He's told me that in his lifetime he's paid over £50 million in tax and charities. Okay? He's got that much money now, he's paying about 40 grand a week in income tax on his capital. He's in his 70s, and he says to me, I'm going to Portugal. I'm going to go. And why should I keep, I've paid like 50 million in my life. Why should I keep spending all this money for this government to waste it, to spaff it up against the wall? It feels cheated, it feels conned. And you know what? I think to myself, well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. You've done your bit for king and country, queen and country before. Why should they keep penalising when you can go and live somewhere else and pay no tax, or hardly any? And if we lose him, what we lost all his businesses, his capital and everything.
All the employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot understand how Labour can't see this. I mean, they put up national insurance, which is like the most penal tax to put up for growth, surely.
Well, yeah. I mean, one of the things I do each week is that I go and visit small businesses. I go to my local indoor market, high street, pop into the shops, see how they're doing, especially after the budget, and they are terrified. You know, some of these are like new little businesses, craft shops, whatever. They're doing all right, want to recruit somebody, and then this hits them, and they've got to find, I don't know, maybe 10 grand a year extra. I go to some of the SMEs. I went to one in Nashville a few weeks back, and he got to find an extra £250,000 for national insurance rise. I said, where's that money coming from? He said that's their pay rise from next year. Them on the shop floor. So, yeah, you might be clever putting the NIC employer's contribution up, but you've just cost your workers a pay rise next year.
Or a job.
Or investment in that factory. Madness.
Yeah.
It's madness. I mean, I'm not a businessman. I had a window cleaning round when I was 16, and I got more business experience than the whole cabinet put together.
You have. None of them have ever run a business, have they?
No. You shouldn't laugh, should you?
No, that's why I'm laughing, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. So these people are making decisions. I mean, I won't let these people in the cabinet look after a corner shop for a weekend. It'd be bankrupt by the time they come back. They'll be giving stuff away. Absolute lunatics.
I can't get my head around how we've got here.
Well, it's because the Tories were so bad.
Right.
You know, Boris, he could have been like Churchill. He could have been Churchillian. Obviously, he got hit with COVID. He could have been stronger through COVID. I know when I went to see him after the first lockdown, he promised we won't lock down again.
So he didn't want to?
No, he didn't want to. It was obvious he didn't want to. And he says, no more lockdowns, Lee, no more lockdowns. A week later, he locked down.
Why?
I think he was scared. And I understand it a little bit, because I had it as an MP. When you're walking down your high street with your masks on, social distancing, as you did, there's people looking at you. There's 2 sets of people looking at you. There's somebody who's lost somebody to COVID or died with COVID, not necessarily of COVID, and they're looking at you and blaming you because you didn't lock down early enough, and I don't think we did, to be honest. Then there's the other set looking at you with evil eyes saying, I can't see my mother or grandmother in a care home, that's because of you. So you couldn't win, really. Whatever decision you made, you was going to piss off 50% of the population. But Boris should have been...
Isn't that politics, though?
Yeah. You only need 50% of the population to love you to win. He should have been stronger. He should have locked down earlier, instead of faffing about, and then let it go. And I don't mean let the virus go. I mean, he should have... The vulnerable and the weak and the elderly should have been isolated. We know that. But the rest of the population should have gone to work, and the children should have gone to school, because it really messed up with kids' heads. And the sad part for me is the children where school was respite for them, where it was a place of comfort and safety, because there's a lot of little children in this country have got terrible home lives, and school was an escape for them, and that was wicked and horrible. And these lot over there, they don't get that.
Is it true you would be thinking about bringing back the death penalty?
No, it's not Reform's policy. I've always been pro death penalty, but it would always be a free vote in the House. Well, it should be anyway. It's like the assisted dying bill. It's a matter of your own conscience. I think if they had a referendum in the country would probably go for it. I know they did some local polling in my area. One of the newspapers did it once a few years back, I think it was, and it was about 80% in favour. And people will say, you might get the wrong person. Not these days with DNA. You might have done 50 or 60 years ago. But the example I always give when people say, you might get the wrong person, I say, well, no. Look at the Lee Rigby killers. They was on video doing it. The police caught them more or less in the act. There was 100 witnesses, and they admitted it, and they got blood all over their clothes. Well, sorry, they're guilty. Go on.
Mm. And do you think, because, people talk a lot about Dubai and how, you don't get a lot of crime there because you know what's coming to you if you do.
It's the same as Singapore. I went there to Singapore, I think it was last year, on the Home Affairs Select Committee before I got kicked off. There's restructuring.
Sounds like a story in that.
There's a story there, yeah. And the one thing I noticed was didn't see any policemen or police cars in the week I was there. And I said to one of the guides, why is this? He says, because of the consequences to committing crime are so harsh. He says, you can leave your wallet on that table there in the restaurant and come back an hour later and it'll still be there. They would not take it because it would be 3 lashes and prison. So, yeah, authoritarian. But, I'm not sure I want to live in an authoritarian state, but I think there's some lessons to be learned there. If there are consequences to your actions, shoplifting's a great example in this country. If they were locked them up for 6 months, as soon as they got caught, they wouldn't do it.
Nah. Wouldn't be worth it for a sandwich.
No, I'm not going to steal that bottle of whiskey or whatever because I know I'm going to get 6 months. They'd stop doing it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to do it for a month. They'd stop doing it. Deterrence.
But surely we are just talking about common sense.
Yeah,
things.
it's just common sense. There's no common sense in Parliament at all.
These are people that are representing the people.
They're not, though. That place doesn't represent the people. Look at the Brexit vote in 2016. 75% of MPs were Remainers, yet 52% of the population voted to leave the European Union. That's how representative that place is. And it's worse now.
So, what, does the whole system need a reform, let alone the parties?
It does, and I'm not sure how you do it. My party was in favour of proportional representation at one stage. I don't think we can have that in its purest form because somebody like Corbyn would probably get 50 or 60 seats in there. That is scary. What's his name? Zach Balansky.
Oh, what, Mr. Free Open Borders?
Yeah, Mr.
Open the borders.
Yeah, open borders. He'd probably get 50 or 60 seats in there. I don't know. You'd open the door to a whole range of nut jobs coming into Parliament. And that's scary. And they could have the balance of power. So we've got to stick with the system we've got, which is first past the post, and we've just got to get out there and campaign and hope that people see sense in 2 or 3 years' time and send us back there to sort this mess out.
Mm. So how will reform turn the UK around?
You touched on it earlier, to be honest with you, Rob. We need to fill a cabinet full of people who know what they're doing. Nigel's always said it. I've always said it since I've been here. I can't believe these secretaries of state have got no experience in the field. They're running the country on health, education, defence, the treasury, and they've got no experience in the field. Get some proper experts in, people that's lived a life, that's made a few mistakes and got there in the end and actually know what they're doing. And them people are out there, and they will come and help the country if called upon. That's what we need to do, fill the cabinet full of experts, trim down the civil service, sort some of them, because there's some good people in the civil service that want to do a good job for the country, but there's some that are useless. And I've had a pair in front of me in the Home Affairs Select Committee, Mycroft and, is it Ridley, what's his name, edits Home Office, pair of clowns. I asked them some basic questions and they couldn't answer. And these are people running the Home Office. Get rid of them.
You'll do that when you get in, will you?
Got to, haven't you? You've got to.
Would there not be some resistance? I hear they have quite a lot of power, the civil service.
Yeah, they do have a lot of power. But, we're fighting for the heart and soul of our country. Our civil service is, like I say, there's some good people in there, we know, because they've contacted us with whistleblowings and stuff like that. But there's some in there. This all comes from Blair, by the way. He created not just the civil service, well, the whole civil service, police, fire service, armed forces, created a culture where we've got these woke people in charge. There's somebody in every one of these departments, Rob, whose job it is to lie awake at night to think of stupid ideas to implement the following day. And they do, and they're good at it. They're really good. What stupid idea can I think of tonight whilst I'm lying in bed? And they think of something completely bonkers, and then they'll go and roll it out the following day. And we're paying these people huge amounts of money.
How did that happen?
This again, it comes from Blair. It's this soft, wet, limp-wristed, liberal, pearl-clutching, apologetic class that would just get laughed out of Ashfield. They wouldn't dare come into a miners' welfare up in Nottinghamshire or South Yorkshire. They get laughed. But these people are having a say in how our country's run, and they need to get in the real world, go and mix with some real people. Yeah, I mean, I've still got one foot in the past. I know that. I can remember talking to my granddad, who's been gone nearly 40 years now, bless him, who was a coal miner in the 1930s. When war broke out, he did his bit, went to North Africa and Italy, did his 4 or 5 years, come back, got demobbed in Sheffield, walked it back to Ashfield because he was too mean to pay the bus fare, back down the pit 2 days later, did another 45 years underground. He would turn in his grave to see what we've done to this country, turn in his grave.
Yeah.
All them young men in both wars sacrificed their lives, fought for our country, and now we can't even stop a rubber dinghy coming over the channel. We're gutless and we're cowardly, and we should be ashamed.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. 98 veteran on TV.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
What did I fight for?
Yeah. Lost all his friends.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
For them. Over there. It makes me so angry, to be honest. I see them in there and I think you spineless, gutless bunch of MPs who don't give a toss about our country. Do not give a toss. Look after your own people. Put them first. They pay your wages. It's their forefathers that fought and died in a foreign field to keep our country safe. And you're sitting here chatting shit.
Silver has crashed. It's back to its price in 1974, and I'm going to buy more. And if you'd like to learn how to invest and build multiple streams of recurring income, I recommend you join Money.School. Money.School is my global financial education platform to help as many people on this planet get better financial knowledge. For less than 4 Starbucks coffees a month, there are hundreds of hours of courses, resources, and masterclasses going back a decade to teach how to make, manage, and multiply money and gain financial freedom. So join thousands of other money and freedom seekers on the link Money.School and start today your journey to financial freedom and more money. How do we create growth? You said we've got to have people better off. I'm an entrepreneur, so that's an area I'm interested in personally.
Yeah.
How do we create growth?
Well, first of all, control immigration. I mean, they keep saying it's growth. Yeah, of course, if you import an extra 1 million people a year, yes, you're going to make more stuff and produce more stuff. But is it profitable per GDP, per capita, per person? The way you create growth in this country is we've got to have a go at the benefits bill. We've got to get people back to work. It's no good somebody going to work all week and earning 300 quid and then having another 300 or 400 quid on benefits to top the wage up. They're not paying no income tax. They're paying a bit of national insurance, but actually they're taking more out. Well, they're paying nothing in. Literally paying nothing in. I've been doing some work on welfare because I've got a little bit of a background in welfare. We've got families in London that's getting £70,000 to £80,000 a year on benefits. not going to work.
I think one of your posts, you said one of them was on 80. Was it
80.
Was it Tower Hamlets?
Yeah, Tower Hamlets.
Yeah, 82 grand.
Yeah, 82 grand. And that was verified by the Adam Smith Institute as well. It's spot on. You imagine £82,000 a year for a family. You'd have to earn...
150 to get that.
Well,
net.
I don't know. Probably 115, 100... Yeah. So you'd have to earn that gross to take that home.
Yeah.
Now, how many families does it take to go to work and pay income tax to pay for that 85 grand? And bear in mind, some of these families, they're not from this country. They've been here, they've got ILR, indefinite leave to remain, been here 5 years, got that, dropped on with the old bad back. We know it happens. And then there's no wonder they're ringing their mates up in a country 5,000 miles away and saying, get your son here, my duck. I'm on 85 grand a year. That's the old villagers' wages, isn't it? Well, it is, seriously. You know what? You're on 85 grand a year, you got a free ass, you don't do it in a car.
So how do you sort that out?
Stick and carrot, isn't it? I mean, there's going to have to be one. I've always said it. I mean, this again stems back from Blair, right? The tax credit system introduced in, I think it was 98 when Blair first came in. It introduced the minimum wage, which is there's some unintended consequences of that, and the tax credit system, which topped people's wages up, which made them, admittedly, it dragged people out of poverty overnight, hundreds of thousands of people. But what it did, it allowed people to stop working full time. They went on to 16 hours. I saw it firsthand. They went on to 16 hours, and the state would then top their wages up to a 35-hour-a-week job. So not only have they dropped to 16 hours, they're no longer paying income tax, so there's no contribution to the Treasury, and the state, the taxpayer, is topping their wages up by 200 or 300 quid a week. And these people are thinking, oh, this is great, I can stop at home, just work two days a week, get the same wage. You know, Bob's your uncle. But then 20 years later, these same people are coming to see me, and their kids have left school, they've gone, and so they've lost all their entitlement to the tax credit, or the universal credits as we call it now, and all of a sudden, they're still in that 16-hour-a-week job, entry-level job on minimum wage. They're not getting the 300 or 400 quid a week in universal credit because the kids have gone, and they're saying to me, I can't afford to live. And I think, well, that's shocking, because it's the state that encouraged them to go on to 16 hours, and then 20 years later, 15 years later, whatever, they can't afford to live. That person's been stuck in an entry-level job for all them years, where they should have been getting promoted, getting an extra qualification, or going to another job, and going up through the career stage like we used to. When I first started work, I did about a year in a concrete factory, shoveling concrete. I was on 75 quid a week. But the men who I was working with, doing the same job, they were probably on double what I was on. I weren't jealous. I weren't mad or angry. I just wanted to earn what they was earning. So I had to prove myself. And I did. And then when I went to the pit, it was the same then. I was on one of the lower grade jobs, on 40% bonus. I thought, no, I want to work on the coal face. I want to earn what you're earning. And I did. And that's what you did back in the day. You started on a low-paid job and you worked your way up and wanted to, you saw men with a nice new car in car park. I thought, I want one of them. But there's only one way you're going to get one, is by working on a coal face, working 7 days a week, doing 12-hour shifts, putting the hours in, and getting some money in your back pocket. You know what? You feel a lot better when you've got a few quid in your back pocket. And but we've lost that now. We're saying to people now, these idiots across there, it's okay if you don't earn that much, we'll top your wages up, or we'll give you a bit more, or we'll spend another £15 billion of taxpayers' money on your benefit bill. Don't worry. We'll be like, what incentive is it for them people to then go to work? And for employers to get good staff? You can't, because they'll just stay at home. Nonsense.
Is it that easy just to get people back to work?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, of course it is. You stop the benefits.
You stop them?
Yeah. If you're able-bodied, you go to work, you're not getting no benefits. It's simple as that. I don't care if you've got a degree in psychology of wild mushrooms or anything like that, some ridiculous degree you've got, and you can't find a job in the psychology of wild mushrooms, you're going to get a job in McDonald's.
I mean, we're going to need a lot of labourers, aren't we, to sort this country out? The roads need sorting out. Don't we need to build a lot of houses?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good jobs.
Where's the materials going to come from, though? I mean, we've got to build 1.5 million out. I don't know where the bricks are going to come from, the sand, and I don't know where it's going to come from. We should get people back to work.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. No other country would put up with this nonsense. You know, we've got 1 million young people out of work in this country. Some of them with just mild anxiety. You know, they're worried about something. They're not sleeping right. I worry about stuff. We all worry about stuff. You know, we're all on a spectrum somewhere. That's why they call it a spectrum. Well, we are. We're all on. You know, we've all got mental health problems. But one of the best ways I always found when I was young is go and do something. You know, some people go into the gym. Some people go for a run. Some people play sports. I tell you what, how about going to work? That'll cure it. Not in all cases, because there's some serious cases. But if it's mild, I'm sorry. Stop whinging, go to work, contribute towards society, do your bit for your family, your community and your country. It's our duty. By the way, I don't know anybody who's got a degree in the psychology of wild mushrooms. I just made that one up.
Reform are quite small. Like if you compare the size of the staff, the history of Reform are what, 5, 6 years old? Labour, Conservatives, 100, 200 years old. Like, have you got the infrastructure to run this country?
Well, you're sat in a great place now, Rob. I mean, probably if it came 3 years ago, there'd probably been 2 or 3 people, not even in this building.
Well, it was much smaller when interviewed Zia.
Yeah. So we've got this great staff now. We've got money in the bank. We have probably nearly 1,000 councillors. We control 10 councils. We've got 5 MPs. We've got more and more people coming on board that want to help us develop policy. A lot of people have not put their head above the parapet, but they're there in the background helping. And the one great advantage we do have is you cannot blame us for anything. How's that grab you?
Because you haven't done anything,
exactly.
I guess.
They can't blame us for anything. So,
well, I mean, everyone calls you all racists, don't they?
Yeah, but that's the default. If you beat a Labour supporter in an argument, the last thing they'll say is you're a racist, you're a fascist. I had a bit of a tatar on the street down here a few months back where somebody walked by and he called me a fascist. So I thought, I'm not having this. So I went back at him. I says, what do you mean by that? He says, oh, you're racist. I said, well, can you give me an example? He says, well, you're Reform, aren't you? He says, no, I'm a professor. He was a professor at some college. I tried to impress me. I said, look, I always like friendly feedback. Please give me an example of what we've done as a party or what I've said that makes us fascists. And he just says, F off, you're all fascists, and walked off. So when you actually challenge people, they can't give you an example. It's just something. They've always done it. The left have always done it. They've always accused people of being fascists and Nazis. I had this in one of my schools. I don't know if you've seen it. One of my schools in my patch, Quarrydale Academy, I had a couple of parents email in to say they were disgusted at their political display on the wall. And they'd been teaching political history in year 9, and they'd done a display on the wall. And at this end, they got Mussolini. It said Nazis, far right, fascists. A picture of Mussolini, Oswald Mosley, Nigel Farage, and me. Yeah, you might find that mildly amusing.
Well, surely you did.
Mildly amusing.
You must have found.
But it's not amusing to the parents of them children who voted for me in that class. This is how thick they are, some of these left-wing teachers.
That's what I'm like. You can't compare you guys to mine.
So I went to see the head teacher. He had a round of, you can imagine what he had off me. And I said, look, all I want now is for me to stand with that teacher who's done this in the front of the class and have a debate, a sensible debate, and let's talk about fascists and Nazis. And I can't believe how thick your teacher is, because basically half of them kids in that class, their parents would have voted for me. So by default, you're calling them Nazis and fascists as well. It's not a good thing in a place like Ashfield.
No.
Have you stopped laughing yet?
Well, like, I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of it.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
You're laughing because you thought it was funny. Maybe.
Well, it is funny in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a good sense. I can see the funny side of it, the ridicule.
It's funny because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Here's why: because, like you said, you've done nothing.
Yeah.
You've not been in power. You haven't murdered 1 million people.
No.
You're a 5-year-old party.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm laughing.
And it's always been them world leaders to the left of politics that's committed the most horrific crimes on people. You know, look at Stalin. Look at Mao Zedong. Look at all these, these dictators in South America. These are the wicked people. Well, anyway,
is wokeism like dying now? Do you think it's still strong?
I think our young people are fighting back now. I think we've gone through one mad generation, but a lot of the young lads I speak to now, bearing in mind some of the 12, 13-year-olds will be able to vote at the next election, which I think is slowly dawning on Starmer. The young lads I speak to when I go around the schools, 14, 15, 16, they're all reform. They love Nigel Farage, they follow him on TikTok, they like what I've got to say, they're rebellious. And the more a teacher stands up in the classroom and slags somebody off, the more they're going to go away and have a look at it for themselves. And then they're going to say, well, I agree with that. My teacher's wrong, which they are doing. It's backfiring.
Yeah. And why do you think we had this, well, you call it mad, this sort of woke culture? What happened?
I don't know. I think everything comes from America, don't it, in this country? I think it started off probably on the west coast of America when people start challenging their own pronouns and who am I? And, they've got, I don't know, 1 million different genders. It's a freak show. And the teachers and ed teachers that are allowing this stuff are freaks as well. They should be protecting our children. Don't confuse our children in schools. Children are children. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an airline pilot, I wanted to be a footballer, I wanted to be a cowboy, I wanted to be an Indian. Kids will get confused, kids will question, kids will tease each other. But you know what? It's part of growing up. When they get to an adult age, they'll figure it out for themselves what they want to be. Just leave them alone.
If the only way for reform to get in would be to have some kind of coalition with Conservatives, would you be up for that?
Well, we don't know that, do we? It's an impossible question to answer. We don't want any pact. We don't want any pre-election pact with the Conservatives. It's up to the electorate. The electorate are smart enough and nimble enough now to make their own mind up. And if they want to be ruled by a bunch of nutters who's going to give our country away, lunatics that keep apologising for our history, our heritage, our past, our culture. If they want a police force that don't work, if they want an armed forces that's completely woke, if they want public service to be a shambles, then vote for the Labour Party or vote for Greens. That's the choice. They've got a simple choice. The Conservative Party have had their chance. I was part of it. They didn't do anything they promised. They more or less bankrupted the country, and then they've given it to the Labour Party, gifted it to them, and it's just more stupidity on steroids, as far as I'm concerned.
And your opinion on how London is and the London mayor?
Well, you know what my opinion of the London mayor is.
I think I could work it out.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm in the Reform Party. I made some comments last year about the state of our capital city, the Islamists controlling Parliament Square on a Wednesday night. I said that Mayor Khan had lost control and given the city away. I was told by the Tory party I had to apologise to him. And I said, no, I'm not apologising to that man. No way, I'm right. And I am right. I've been proven right. And there's no way I went to be an independent MP. And obviously I know Nigel and Richard. And, I've always liked what Nigel's had to say. I like the way he operates. I like, totally in line with him, really. And I thought, well, I'm a politician by accident. I never wanted to be an MP. I wasn't on my radar. I sort of just fell into it. And I thought to myself, you know what, why am I here now? I am an MP. I don't know how long I've got left, probably 6 months to a year. I'm not apologising to Mayor Khan, not while I've got a breath in my body. And if I can make a difference, I'll make it with Reform UK, with Nigel leading us. Plus, my mother told me I couldn't go back to the Tory party, which was always listen to your mum. And she said she wouldn't vote for me if I went back to the Tory party, which is quite powerful. So I thought, no. I took a big gamble on myself going to Reform.
Why? Why was it a big gamble?
Well, everybody said you'd lose your seat. You won't win your seat again. I was 12-1 at the bookies when the election was called. I thought, no, I'm going to win this seat. I know my constituents. I know what they like. I know what they think. And I did win. And my vote share went up. And every single other red wall seat, should I say, who I got elected with in 2016, they all lost the seats. All them Tories. There's only me. I remember being in the chamber when I first came to Reform. And I'm sat in the chamber, and there's Jeremy Corbyn sat here at the side of me, and George Galloway sat here, and I'm sat in between them during the statement on Gaza. You can imagine the crazy mental conversation going between these two lunatics, and I'm having to listen to it. And I'm sat there and looking, and there's my friends all on the Tory benches. There's Ben Bradley, there's Marco Longhi, there's Jonathan Gullis, there's Jacob. They're all there laughing at me like that, and I'm thinking, you know what? They're not laughing now, are they? Because every single one lost a seat, and I'm still sat in the same seat. But now I've got Nigel, Richard, Sarah, and Danny.
Are you surprised at how fast and meteoric the rise of Reform has been?
No, not really.
I mean, it's unprecedented, isn't it?
Not really. I'm surprised at the membership numbers, that how they went up so high. But now I travel the length and breadth of the country every week. I speak at different associations. I'm all over the place every weekend, travelling hundreds and hundreds of miles. And everywhere I go, I get recognised. And people pick their horns. People come out and shake your hand and say, we're depending on you.
How does that make you feel?
It's a huge responsibility. I think, we're doing the right thing. Because there's a huge amount of sport out there for us. And the best ones are the black cabs around London. If you walk down, they all pick you. They all know who you are. It's great.
And what happened with Rupert? Like, what really happened?
I'm trying to remember now. Because there is an order to what happened with Rupert. There were some allegations made by Zia over some bullying, some threatening behaviour, which went to the police. They then went to the CPS. I don't think they had enough evidence to continue with it. And then obviously there was the allegations made from a member of staff as well, and Rupert wouldn't cooperate with the investigation. Now, when you're in Reform, everything you do has to be spot on, and we tried to be right about it. Tried to do it properly, but obviously Rupert saw it differently. I've never publicly slagged Rupert off. Always gone quite well with him. He's a highly intelligent man. But when you're in a team, especially a small team, and the spotlight's on you, you've got to be solid together. There can be no chinks in the armour. You've all got to sing from the same hymn sheet. You've all got to work together and do your best, because we're on a mission to save our country. And you have to accept that Nigel's our leader, and we fall in line behind him. As simple as that. If you don't, you lose.
Do you think there was like a leadership challenge?
I think Rupert may have sort of seen himself to be a potential leader one day, but that's politics. There's always it's life, it's business. People always want to be the top dog. But there's one thing. I look back over political history about 30 years ago. There's one thing I admire Gordon Brown for. It's not his politics. It
wasn't his management of the gold, was it?
No, it wasn't his gold skills. He knew that Tony Blair was more electable than him. And usually politicians have got a huge ego. They'll even risk losing just in case they might win themselves. But he knew, and he was big enough to step aside and let Tony get the job. And that's probably the one thing I can admire him for. And in politics, you have to think to yourself, am I in it for myself, or for my country, or for my area? And the ones that want to be leader or push everybody to one side to get to leader are normally in it for themselves.
I just feel like it's just a bit of a shame, because Rupert's got a lot of influence and he talks a lot of sense, I think.
Well, I don't think he's got that much influence, to be honest.
No?
No. He might have on Twitter, but Twitter's, I was never on Twitter before the last election.
See you walking around doing your videos now?
Yeah, I do my videos.
Yeah.
Facebook's probably my best tool, but don't get carried away on social media. Twitter means nothing.
Well, I mean, you're in the game of popularity, aren't you?
It means nothing. Facebook's the best one.
Yeah, I actually prefer Facebook.
Facebook is the difference between Twitter and Facebook is on Facebook, my mum, my dad, little old lady next door, our sons, all my friends and family are on Facebook. None of them's on Twitter. None of them. They don't know how to use it. And it's a cesspit. It's just people attacking each other. Attacking pillars of the community like my good self, making all sorts of outrageous allegations. I just go on Twitter, do my walk to work videos, roll a few grenades out for the lefties, collect my 400 quid a month from a blue tick, and then Bob's your uncle.
Let me ask you, did Labour screw working people, the very people they said they were supposed to be?
They've always done it, haven't they? Labour make a living out of poor people. They exist because of poor people. And they keep telling these poor people that they are victims and they'll look after them. And all they do is keep them poor. Giving people extra benefits is not getting them out of poverty. The way you get people out of poverty is through opportunities, through training, through education, through skilling up. And it's about saying to them, look, if you go to work, get this job, we'll support you with training and education. You know what? At the end of the rainbow, there's a house, there's a car, there's a family, there's a holiday abroad once a year. But that's beyond most people's wildest dreams now. In some of the communities in this country, people just think, give me more benefits. And we're on third generation now that's never heard an alarm clock go off in the morning. And it's not their fault. It's the government's fault, it's the state's fault.
How much worse would it have to get for you to leave?
Leave where?
The UK.
I say to my children sometimes, go. Go to Dubai, go to Australia, go to Canada. Just go. But then you think to yourself, well, why should you give up? Why should you give up fighting for our country? Things weren't perfect in the 70s and 80s. When I was growing up, no, they weren't. It weren't the good old days, but it was a lot better. You knew you'd got pretty much, you could get a job when you left school. In my village, I said this at conference, I can't remember any man in my village being on the dole. It was like, if there was, it was like, you were like a leper. You were an outcast. People used to scoff and laugh and you'd like scurry by them in the street. But now it's whole streets that are not working. And the next street is working to pay for them. It's not fair.
No.
It's just not fair.
Okay, let's finish this on something positive.
This has all been positive.
What's great about the UK and how we're going to make it better? Final call to arms. The future of the UK is in your hands.
The great thing about the UK is wherever you go in the world, you can see something from this country. And that makes you, whether it's railway lines, whether it's engineering, whether it's democracy, you can see something everywhere in the world from the UK, which when you look on the world map and you see how tiny we are, that's great. And we've got hard work and innovation in our DNA. We need to bring that back. And the way you bring it back is by getting people back to the bloody work and cutting the red tape, let businessmen flourish. Because at the end of the day, governments don't make money. Businesses make money. And entrepreneurs make money. Risk takers.
And you said you're most active on Facebook. Is your handle just Lee Anderson, or what's your username so people can follow you?
Well, I'll give you a clue. Lee Anderson MP. And I do my walk to work videos, and sometimes most days I probably get 300,000 or 400,000 views. Sometimes
people like them, don't they?
People like them.
Yeah.
People tune in to look at them, and when you talk to people on a phone, on Facebook in the morning, they think you're talking to them, and you are, and they like it.
Yeah.
And everywhere I go, people say to me, "I love your walk to work videos. Keep doing them." So I'll keep doing them, and I can get more hits than Question Time on a Thursday night on a 30-second video.
There you go.
There you go.
Lee, thanks for what you're doing, and thanks for being on the show.
You're welcome.